Okay, so Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to the course. I think we still do not have full class, but it's okay. We can start at least slowly today. My name is Dr. Atiq, and I'm, from Department of MIS. So hopefully we can take another course next term as well, inshallah, with you as well. So I've been given this course called Business Intelligence to teach you. Okay, MIS 413. So before we start, I just wanted to say, other than the course, that this term, next term are all very important courses for all of you as MIS students. Programming for business, business intelligence, network management, next term, project management, decision support system, all of those.
And there is a major elective. What are these?
Major electives are, there are something called major core, which you have to take, must. There are major electives are those courses where you can choose. But because we do not have enough students, so we normally offer one elective. Normally, if you have, eventually if you have more students, so we can even have like 2 courses and you can choose between one of them. You understand what electives are? So you have a choice.
What are the courses names?
I can talk about that later, right? So right now let us just focus on this course, okay? So like HCI actually was not a core, but I think it is an elective. So yeah, so it is an elective. Welcome. Yeah, so electives are something where you have an option, okay? So but if you want to see the list, you can come to me and I'll show it to you. What are the possible electives. Okay, so but please, what I wanted to say here is that this term, next term are very crucial courses, especially considering your careers. Okay, so like programming for business is a foundation course if you're looking for business intelligence and analytics, as an area you would like to join. Project management next term is very important. A lot of career is happening, just because of that single course. Okay. Decision support is important. Network management is like that. Yes.
There is. I heard about Power BI. We will learn it.
No. Leave the question at then. Let me complete. Okay, and
Okay.
then we'll come to the questions. Okay. So please, I just wanted to say these 2 terms. Please pay special attention, right? Because you will eventually, these courses will determine your career directions. Okay. So whether it is project management or network management or business intelligence or programming, so please make sure, other courses were fine, they were all fine, but especially these 2 terms will be very important for you to determine what you will be doing for next several years. Okay. So please pay special attention to it. Now coming back to the course, this course is called Business Intelligence. Okay. I've already uploaded the course syllabus on Blackboard. What is important right now for you to know is that detailed course schedule is given there. The course will have only 1 quiz, and the date is mentioned. So please make note of that date, okay? So that if another instructor asks, you will be able to remember that you have a quiz. The quiz will be in the evening, so that it will not be a time conflict but a day conflict. Okay.
Doctor?
Yes.
Why is 1 course? Because it will contain much. Okay.
Yeah, just make sure that we leave the questions at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is an instructor's choice here. If you want another quiz as a practice, we can certainly do that. But eventually, it is a department and collective decision. So you will have, you can have a look at it, okay? And the other thing I think you may be interested in is the marks distribution. So it is very typical of what you have seen before in your courses. So quiz will be 8%, midterm and final are 30 and 40%, and the project is 22%. Okay. So why project 22%? Because previously it used to be theoretical projects. This time we changed a little because we wanted to do something practical. I'm teaching this course after 7-8 years, so So we are coming back to this course, and I don't want, even the lady on the other side is teaching it for the first time. So we wanted to introduce some practical things to the course, right? So we don't want to keep it dry, theoretical, like MIS 455 or MIS 206, right? So we wanted to really give you something real, okay? So other than that, if you have questions, we can come back to it. But let me just get to the course, and let me give you the broader picture for the course, okay? So this broader picture is very important for you to know, because whatever we learn, you need to know where it is placed. You know, why am I talking about that particular topic, right? So you need to understand the bigger picture of the course, and inshallah it will help you understand why am I doing a certain part in the course. So the course is called Business Intelligence. Business intelligence, by the way, is kind of a fashionable term, meaning that for last 10-15 years, if you talk about business intelligence, there are always some hot topics in the area, right? Within the fields. But business intelligence is considered a hot area since last 10, 12, 15 years. But what was considered as a modern business intelligence 10 years ago is no more what you see now. The field is changing. So there's another thing that is coming under the umbrella of business analytics, but now people are starting to talk about it by itself. It's called analytics. Okay? So I'm going to make sure you understand the difference between the two. And analytics is kind of taking over so many things, within MIS, within business. So it is one of the hottest field these days. And because of its importance, now we even have a master's program that we started last year. The only master's program from MIS department, it is called Master of Science in Business Analytics. So it's a very important field, something that even you can consider as your career. It has huge job market, and the field is here to stay for next 20-30 years. There's no doubt about it. I'm sure you're hearing about AI, artificial intelligence, and all those things, right? So it all is coming under the umbrella of business analytics, right? So that is why you will see terms like not only business intelligence, but analytics as a standout part of business intelligence, and then I'll talk more about decision. So let me first tell you the relationship between all these three things. So before going to whatever we'll see on the slides, okay? So I wanted to ask you a question, and you can be open about it. There's nothing right and wrong about it, but I just want to know about your views, okay? So if you think about how businesses are done during last, let's say, 15 years versus going back as long as you like, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years. What is the thing that is different, that has happened during last 10 or so years, 15 years, as compared to what was happening before? So what's the difference? What's the change?
People behavior while shopping is different right now. So people now
Okay.
shopping.
Let me hear, and then I'll come back to each one of these.
Transformation from old school to new school, like in technology and all this stuff.
Okay. Anything else? Fundamental thing. I'm talking about more fundamental thing.
The behavior.
Okay. Behaviors have always been changing, right?
Yes.
What else? Finance, right? Can you do any business without finance?
No.
No.
So it is always there, right? Can you do anything without management?
No.
And management does not mean that what you study here, management in a general sense, right? You still have to manage, right? In whatever way. Marketing, you still have to promote, advertise. It has been there since even 100 years ago, you still have to advertise, right? You have to put boards, etc. So the fundamental thing that has changed, especially since last 15-20 years, is your ability to store data because of the changes in technology. Your ability to store a lot of data. 15 years ago, if you have to go from here to airport, especially during evening, you will just guess which road will be less busy. Am I right?
Yes.
You just have to have a guess, and pray to God that if you're already late, that the road that I will pick will have less traffic.
No.
But you will never know.
Now Google Maps.
Now you have Google Maps, right? So your ability to store data and then use the data. You understand, the difference between the two. So 10-15 years ago, what started to happen is that, especially when computers came, you started to save and record data, okay? And then databases came. You took MIS 309 and, data DBMS 1 and 2, right? So it has been there since start of 80s and 90s, and especially in 90s now companies have started to gather the data. So gathering was first part. But then what? Companies realize that we are gathering the data, but what do I do with the data, right? So then last 15 years or so ago, people say, okay, fine, I have this data, but what do I do with that, right? So then people started to think, how can I use this data to beat others, okay? So, but use of data, you need to separate storing and managing the data with the use of data, okay? When I say use of this data, let me show you a file and let me give you a taste of what do I mean by that, okay? It will be a very, very simple example, but it will help you understand, okay? Okay, let me open this one. Because I want you to kind of realize, sorry, my bad. Okay, so imagine this, I'm running a store and I'm saving my data. Okay? So 1st January I sold 90 items. I wanted to record how many items I'm selling each day. Okay? The second day, I maybe you're not able to see, but I wanted to see you, the full picture. It's okay. The numbers are not important. Okay. So 90, 111, 92, 108, 115, 92, 94, 116, and so on. Right? Some numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I just zoom that in, I have this data. Now I wanted to use this data. So can you tell me what's going on here? Because why do I have to save this data if I cannot use it? So what do you see is happening right now if you look at these numbers? Yes.
There is a pattern.
Okay. So let me ask you a more clear question. Is my sales staying the same, going up or going down? Just like looking at this number.
Balanced.
Average.
No, but just looking at the number itself, it's not that easy. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Right? So when I say use the data, it means that you have to do few more things before
You mean
you're able to use it.
You mean calculation?
It could be calculation. It can be as simple thing as
Chart.
plotting. Now, can you tell me, with more confidence that what's going on with my sales?
Mm-hmm.
What is going on with my sales?
Fluctuation.
The fluctuation is there, but tell me what you use a very important one pattern. Is it going up, down, or staying the same?
The same.
A lot of voices, right? You understand what we just did? We tried to use the data and we did something so that it can help us do our business. Now, I wanted to order raw material for the next few periods.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you can see what can happen, right? You see
Increasing.
the pattern, it's going up.
Mm-hmm.
So now it is giving me as a businessman some insights, some learning into my data,
Mm-hmm.
right? So do you see these two parts? One part is collecting the data, and the second part is making use of this data, okay? So making use of this data is actually coming under the term analytics. Everybody understand?
Yes.
So the use of data analytics is not about data collection. Analytics is about
Use.
the use of this data. And this use of this data, I'm going to describe 3 more words which will help you understand, and the rest of the course is all about these things, okay? How am I going to organize my data to begin with? Because if I don't have the data, I cannot do analytics.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody understand that? Do you all agree? If I don't show you the Excel, I mean I can only plot the graph if I have actually the numbers, right? So one part is how am I going to organize my data, right? This will be inshallah the first part of the course. And second part is how am I going to use the data. So use the data, as I told you, is analytics. So 3 words, and don't worry because I haven't put anything on the screen yet. So we'll keep talking about it, but I'm just saying this so that you have a big picture, okay? So in terms of use of data, remember 3 things, okay? Past. I want to learn from the past. When I showed you the graph, we had the data and we wanted to learn what has happened in the past. Line going up. We learned from the past. We call that descriptive analytics. You understand? Learning from the past. Insights from the past is called descriptive analytics. So we will do that. We'll see, how we can do descriptive analytics. I wanted to know what can happen in future, and we will then call it predictive analytics. From the word prediction, right? Everybody understand that? Prediction.
Yeah.
And then there is a third thing. Even when I predict, I still haven't taken the decision. The actual decision that I will take, it's called prescriptive analytics. From doctor write prescriptions, because it's a decision doctor take. Okay. So the third is prescriptive analytics. Okay. So this all 3 together they make analytics, and that's why you have decision mentioned here. So do you understand this big picture for the course? Now what is business intelligence? Business intelligence cover the whole thing. Yes.
Prescriptive, that means what's happening right now?
No. Prescriptive is, when we say that sales are going up, I need to order raw material. How much? I have to send and I have to make a decision. Is it 20? Is it 30? Is it 35? You understand?
Yes.
So there are tools and techniques we use during prescriptive analytics where you say, okay, now I need to order 30 this week for the next week, and 32 for the next week, and 34 for the week after. Right? So decision making is prescriptive analytics.
But it is different than predictive?
I'll tell you why it is different than predictive. Because you're just looking at the sales pattern, right?
Yes.
But do you see that it's going up and down? The line was like there was fluctuation. Now if I'm an elite store, meaning that for me service is important, right? So when once I see this prediction, it means that it is just a prediction, right?
Yes.
And now I want, whenever customer come to me, I want all of them to be satisfied. So whatever I predict, I may decide to order more. You understand why I have to order more? Because of the fluctuation. I wanted to cover, even if more customers, more than my expected customer comes in, I will not face a situation where they will go without buying, right? But if my main concern is cost, here with elite stores, you're not concerned with cost because you're already selling expensive, right? So your more concern is a customer comes, must be satisfied, right? And get the service they are looking for, right? But if you're looking for cost, maybe you want to even order less. Think about selling fresh vegetables. What do you want? You want to waste vegetables? You want to, right? You understand what I'm saying? Maybe you just want to order that you'll make sure that those vegetables will be sold. You don't lose any vegetable at the end of the day, right? So actual decisions sometimes are different than what you're predicting. Okay? So this is the big picture. I hope you remember this big picture throughout the course. So where we are we here in organizing our data for analytics? Are we in descriptive analytics? Are we in predictive analytics? Or are we in prescriptive analytics? Everybody understand that? So please know that thing. Now, by now you should understand that this doesn't look very easy, especially if you're working for a company. For you, maybe you're like supposed to be technical people, but if I'm running a company and everybody start talking about business intelligence and analytics, I say, okay, what's going on? I don't even know these terms, right? My business is running fine. Why do I have to do it? So we need to address why part as well first, as because you're from business school. So if you go to, if you start working with a company and they say, can you do analytics? Then your boss will immediately say that we don't need it. Why do you have to do it? right? So we will talk a little bit about business justification of doing all that, right? And we will talk about competition, several other things. I have been talking about these concepts in some of the other courses, but we'll quickly talk about that here. And then we basically will try to create a case that the situation is forcing companies to move to computerized, computer-driven decision making, which actually means data-driven decision making. I just showed you an example. I use data, use Excel to make my decision, right? So data-driven decision making, and then we'll go try to explore a little bit more about what business intelligence. I gave you the bigger picture, but we'll try to slowly learn more and more about it. We'll try to go deeper and deeper into each areas one by one. Now, and of course, why we are mentioning analytics separately, you already understand, because this has become a very important part of business intelligence. Now, what I want you to do, and this is what I did with the other section, and normally I always do with all my sections, is you can always have a class representative who can talk to me, but it's not a bad idea if you can create a WhatsApp group, which you normally do, but add me to it so that even if I have something to share with you, it reaches everyone, it doesn't go through multiple steps, okay? And if you have a question to ask, which is important for the rest of you, that everybody can see, okay? Now, one of the things I wanted to do is to, officially I cannot give you the book, but there are few cases, mostly, the slides are fine for exam, etc., but there are small things that you may have to refer to in the book, okay? For example, there is like a small case I want you to read before next class. And even I've highlighted, through underline what I want you to see, okay? So if you can, please add me, create a group, and then you add me to it, so that I can. That will be the faster way to do it. Yes.
I'll do it after the class. I'll take your number and.
Okay. So then I can share that book, because WhatsApp is an unofficial medium, and then you can look. I'll tell you that go to that specific case on that page, and then you can just read. The idea is very simple. When you read this case, you will be asked about certain questions. And I think by now you already have a feel of what those questions are. If you see the first question, what is it asking about? What information is provided by the descriptive analytics employed at Magpie Sensing? Magpie Sensing is the name of the company. So you already know descriptive, I told you, is about the past. Learning from past. And then the next question is predictive. You already know what are we looking at, right? The future. And prescriptive is about what? Can you even see it here? Decision making, right? So that case is nothing but trying to show you with a real example what does descriptive analytics mean for this company, or predictive for that company, or prescriptive for that company. Everybody understand that? And it's not long, it's just like 2 or 3 paragraphs, okay? So, but it will give you an perspective, a context of what each of these 3 terms mean. This is nothing but they're asking you to be creative and think what more can be done. Because when you go to a company, eventually as MIA students, you have to bring ideas to companies. Sometimes they have the money, but they don't have the ideas, right? So when you say actionable information, meaning that sometimes you say, look, we have this information, if you do these kinds of analytics, it will help you solve this problem, okay? This is what we even do here in this college. Sometimes, because one of my jobs is to do scheduling, so I say, look, in SIES, we have this information. If you give me this information, we will be able to plan better. Number of sections, average students in the class, and so on. So sometimes you have to give ideas to your bosses, right? So it's just asking you to think openly. Okay, any questions so far? Everybody understand the big picture?
Yes.
2 big areas, information management and analytics, and within analytics, the 3 areas. So let's just talk about justification of why business intelligence is important, right? So, the problem that normally people face when you talk about business intelligence in the companies, and many companies, by the way, are already doing it. I'm just assuming that you're dealing with a company that doesn't know about it, is that they feel that their business is running fine, right? But these days, competition is getting tough and tough, right? There will always be another company doing things better than you, right? So the idea here is companies are moving aggressively, and one of the biggest things that are putting them ahead of you is actually computerizing their operations, which simply translates to
Automation.
automating what? Storing the data and using the data. Eventually, if you think about it, this is what's happening. Automating meaning that the data is very quickly in a nice way is being stored somewhere, even without the interference of people, right?
Yes.
And then automation also meaning that sometimes you're even using the data without a lot of intervention of people, right? So you will eventually remember these words. If you analyze it like this, you will always see that it's about finding the right information very quickly, right? So that is called computerizing, and this is translating to the big term called business intelligence. So people are trying to do business intelligence because of that. So people are trying to explain why more and more companies are adopting business intelligence, and we will just take a few minutes to just talk about that. And they call it pressure response support model, which is nothing but a common sense model which says that as a business you're feeling the pressure of competition, okay, and we'll talk more about this part a little bit more, and then you're trying to respond to deal with those pressures, and then at the end you're creating something, okay, so that you deal with that pressure. So we'll talk a little bit about what is driving businesses to change, okay, and why we discuss that, because even you can argue that to your companies that look, this is happening, so please you need to respond in this way, okay, and then response, and then at the end what is happening. Don't worry about what exactly is written on this diagram, because we will discuss that on slides to come, okay. So but we'll start with the environment. Environment is something that creates two things always for any business. What are those two things? Right? What is environment? Environment is whatever is happening around me. Meaning what? What other companies are doing, what government is doing, what customers, you remember you just mentioned changing behaviors of customers and everything. So everything makes up the environment. These changes either create problems for companies to solve, or they create opportunities for companies. So we have to look for both. Are you facing any problem, or are we having some opportunities that we can capitalize and go ahead of the company? So we will talk about those factors now. So just you have been seeing those factors in strategic management, in entrepreneurship, and all those. So I don't want to waste a lot of time, but just within the context of business intelligence, we'll take like 5 minutes to look at them again. Okay, but we will not spend like 5 weeks on those factors. Okay, so but we will look at some of those factors. So I'm sure you must have discussed that in different courses, like factors related to market. In strategic management, you must have talked about competition, maybe in some other courses, right? It is exactly the same thing. Competition meaning that if I'm alone, no competition, it's fine. But if there's another one, competitor in the market, or even more and more, everybody is trying to do better than the others. So that could be one factor that will drive me to improve. I need to stop and for a second, and I need to ask you, what do you mean by improve? Improve what? Improve can have a lot of meaning, right? So what do I mean by improve?
Improve efficiency.
Efficiency could be one thing. What else? Okay, so improve maybe the way you do business, right? What about cost?
Reduce cost.
So you understand improve can mean a lot of things, right? It could mean
Increase quality.
increase quality, increase speed, right? Even speed. Sometimes speed matters, right?
From service.
Service levels, right? So
Production.
production, maybe speed and whatever, right? So you understand the word improvement. Improve is not a limited word. It is up to your imagination of whatever you would like to improve, right? So you would like to improve something, and market can drive you to improve because of competition. Improvement could be even your reach, global markets. You may be a small business, but you wanted to improve your reach. So your reach could be another factor. So what do I mean by that? I'm running a small store in Khobar, and my reach is only Khobar. I wanted to increase my reach, meaning that I wanted to reach maybe Dammam, why not even Saudi Arabia, right?
Globalization.
So what can I do? So we are talking about that. Maybe if you mix, if you see this problem in this one, you may see where I'm heading. Blooming electronic markets, right? Now, how can I improve my reach if I just look at these two factors? If you're running a small store in Khobar, you can actually join as an affiliate to Amazon or Noon, and they will deal with finding orders for you, and you take the order and you just ship. You understand that? So reach, improve. How am I doing that? Through you know those technologies and everything, right? Again, innovative marketing methods, opportunities for outsourcing. One of the things is something that is happening, a keyword becoming these days for business is real time. Real time meaning that you have to respond as the need comes immediately, right? So even if you're looking at Google Maps, you will see a red, meaning that right now there's something wrong at that road position, right? Maybe a traffic jam or something like that, right? So real time is an important factor. Customer demand, a lot of customization. This is part of changing behavior. Previously, people used to be happy with one thing. Now, customization is becoming important. Quality, I think there was a mention of quality. Technology is driving a lot of change. Old technology, new technology, right? So, and then even government regulations, even social media is playing a part. By the way, when we talk about business intelligence, one of the topics that we will cover is called text mining in this class, and this is where I'll be using a software. I'll show you a software and I'll ask you to actually do text mining. Okay? Now, one of the things that companies are doing is going to Twitter and do something that we will do inshallah, something called sentiment analysis. You know what sentiment means?
No.
Sentiments of being sensitive or happy.
Well, what's the word in Arabic? Like how you're feeling about something. Feeling could be positive or negative. I don't like it. That's a negative sentiment. Or say, oh, very nice, I like it. Positive sentiment. You understand? So sentiments are your feelings. So what is the word in Arabic?
It's either shu'ur or hats.
It's like you.
Shaur is just realization, right? But feeling is usually, sentiments are positive and negative, right? Or neutral. So when you are having football here, what was your sentiment? If you read Twitter, everybody was excited. Do you agree with that? Right? Or something negative has happened, so you'll see, yes. Opinions, but one very important word is to attach with it is positive or negative. You understand that? Opinion, but is it a positive opinion or a negative opinion? Okay. So, for example, you want to go to and eat steaks or some food. You search Google, right? So what do you normally do if it's a new restaurant? You look at comments.
Yes.
So what are you trying to look in the comments? Positive and negative comments, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
The opinions.
Not just opinions, are positive and negative. You read. If more people say, oh, excellent, very nice food, very nice environment,
behavior side.
You understand that?
Yeah.
So, expectation, right? It will even drive your expectation, right? So, we will do sentiment analysis. We'll see how many positive sentiments or negative sentiments, right? So, all these more advanced analysis of data is happening these days with the company. So, they are not just looking at Excel files, they are looking at even tweets, comments, reviewer comments, right? So, which is what is making business intelligence more exciting. Okay, so this is where I said even society is driving things, where I see that most of the customers don't like something, I can see the sentiments.
In terms of culture?
No. In terms of, we just analyze that whether they are liking it or not liking it. And then if we see that they are liking something more, we do that more. If they don't like something, we do something about it, right? Yes. Okay. So I hope you understand that there are lots of factors. The point was that there are lots of factors that are driving you to use analytics. So even I told you that people's discussion is a factor that is affecting you, so you wanted to do something about it, right?
The previous slide about the factors.
Previous slides were about different factors that are affecting your decision of how you're going to use analytics, okay? Or business intelligence. Now, in terms of business, there are 3 ways to deal if you're facing a problem or if you're looking at the opportunity. One is, you face a problem, you run into a problem, your sales coming down. And you say, what is going on? So, this is called reactive. You know the reaction? Reaction meaning that you first see a problem and then you try to solve it. But then there are other things that more smarter companies do. What is that? Proactive or anticipative. Meaning that I don't wait till something goes wrong.
You change it immediately.
Before even it happens. Now this is where I want you to think. How do you know that something will happen in the future that you have to address now?
You have to production.
Analytics will tell you that. Right? You understand that? You look at the past pattern, what is happening,
And try to
predict the future.
Or maybe you can't see the competitors, what they want.
Again, what you're saying is looking at their past,
Yes.
and then you're trying to predict. You know that the importance of predictive analytics and descriptive analytics? This is exactly what smart companies are doing. They're saying that look, this is what's happening now with my competitor or with me. Before, so you would already know that it's coming if you're using smart predictive analytics, right? So that's the point I'm trying to make. So even if you have tools available, you have to decide what you wanted to do. You want it to be reactive, meaning that I just learn from the past and something happened and then I try to learn, okay, maybe that was the reason. And then you fix it. So some companies are just doing descriptive analytics. They're trying to learn, okay, something has happened, so tell me the reason. I go into my past and learn about the reason. Okay? Some companies which are more proactive or anticipative, these are the more ahead companies, they are using predictive analytics.
they try to perceive the problem.
Perceive the problem before they are coming. So what do you want to be? Maybe eventually if you work in a company which are just using descriptive, you just tell them that we can be ahead, we can be anticipative, we can be proactive by also employing predictive analytics. And the most advanced ones are not only using predictive, but they are using prescriptive, where, because even if you look at the prediction, you may not realize now, but there can be so many decisions you can take based on what you see. There can be so many decisions that are available in front of you. So prescriptive analytics allow you to pick the best possible one. The best possible one. Because sometimes you see a lot of them, but your mind cannot process everything. So these tools help you look at all the factors and it will allow you to pick the best possible one, and that's called prescriptive analytics. And almost 99% of the companies are still trying to catch the predictive part. And that is why I told you that analytics is here to stay for next 30, 40 years. Why? Because 80% companies are only doing descriptive. Maybe like 15-20% are doing predictive, and only maybe like 4-5% are relying on prescriptive, right? Yes.
Doctor, I think you need the descriptive to make it predictive.
That is true. You cannot reach predictive until you are already good at
The descriptive.
it. Goes like this. Yeah, that's a very good observation, because if you're doing nothing, you cannot just start with prescriptive. There's no way you can start with
There's no
prescriptive.
data.
There's no data. And plus you have to learn from the data to actually do predictive. You remember I showed you the graph?
Yeah.
What happens there? You learn from the past so that you can use that information to predict. So if you need to go to a company and see where you are. Even if you're not doing anything, you say that I need to start with descriptive. And then you will say that, okay, I'm doing descriptive, I'm trying to learn what has happened in the past, so now I will try to move to prediction, better prediction for my companies, okay? And then if you're already doing prediction, you will say maybe now it's time to move to prescriptive and become best in the market, in terms of not improvement, but I'll set the bar, what is the best way to do anything, okay? So proactive, adaptive also means that you are changing, as you need. Now change means an adaptation, and proaction simply means what? I will not spend time. It might be happening through better strategies. So I can predict what can happen, but then I have to develop my strategies to deal with that situation that I'm predicting to occur, right? So you have a course called strategic management, right? So my predictive model is identifying a threat or an opportunity, a new market emerging. So what is your strategic management course is telling you? SWOT analysis, right? Strengths, weaknesses, threats, opportunities. That's how you need to merge all your courses together. Because your prediction is telling you that market behavior is changing. Actually, analytics can show you that slowly, the market behavior is changing. But you are unable to see that because it's not happening every day, because it's happening slowly over a period of time, right? So, is this change turning into an opportunity, or is it turning into a threat? So then you do strategic management. You can create a plan that next 3 years I know that it will happen, right? So I can create my strategic plan accordingly. Or it can be that I might have to change a model, a business model, entrepreneurship. You can, yes.
Adaptive, that means you adapt to the environment, what's happening right now.
It could be immediate, it could be long term. Whenever you deal with a situation, there's something called operational, technical, and strategic. I'm sure you have talked about these terms in some course. Have you talked about these terms in these course, these 3 terms? Okay, let me quickly explain. Operational means what you're talking about day to day. Okay? So there is always in companies planning going on for very short term. Next 3 weeks, next 4 weeks.
Yes.
Right? And then there's something called tactical. Tactical is like next 5 months, 6 months, maybe maximum 1 year. And then there's something called strategic. Next 10 years, 5 years, right? So whatever I'm talking about have a meaning for operational, have a meaning for tactical, have a meaning for strategic. These can be proactive, you can be proactive at operational level. Short term, I can immediately see that next week I'm facing a problem. So I can be proactively solving it. But if I'm looking at something coming after 3 years, I can be strategic about it. Right? You understand that?
Yes.
So it is at any level. So analytics, by the way, can work at any level. It doesn't matter. Okay? Innovative business model means I see more people after especially Corona ordering online. Right? I can see the shift. So maybe as a restaurant, I need to change even my business model. Innovative business model. I don't now only serve in restaurant, I started deliveries. That's a different business model, right? So We're just saying that now this is not part of the course, we're trying to tell you how you link it with your previous knowledge. Entrepreneurship, strategic management and so on, right? So analytics, there's one shortcoming with analytics, not a shortcoming. It tells you everything, but your creativity is still needed in terms of what you do with your knowledge that you get from analytics. Even if it is predicting you that this behavior is changing, even their tools are there, prescriptive analytics tool, but you still have to do it yourself, right? So they are just telling you that all these are possibilities. And of course, one of the things that usually happen at the start is first improve your business intelligence so that it can help you find all those things, right? So that's why I've highlighted this. Okay, so because you can do so many things, our focus is on this part. Prepare yourself so that you can do all those things. So our companies, one of the major thing is to drive everything through computerized decision support. Meaning what? Use data to take decisions. Use analytics to take decisions. Okay, so this is what it says. And the idea is to improve the performance. So if your current performance, you're not happy with it, so you wanted to improve your performance, and we talked about what improve means. So you can use this computerized system. Okay. Now, 2 slides just to put things into perspective. All these things that I just discussed didn't happen in one day. So just to tell you how companies were able to reach to this point, especially the modern ones. When in 19s or 2000s, early 90s, when database came, people say, nice, let's just record everything. Okay. Then when everything is recorded, the bosses says, why have you made me spend so much money on this database? So then people started to think, okay, I need to report something to my boss, right? I need to give the value to the boss. So then this started to happen. Executive information system, it simply means that you take the data, you somehow summarize and plot using Excel or some software. And then the lower manager says that if they're getting that benefit, we can also get benefit. If you quickly provide me with this information, this insight, right? So reporting started to then go, and then came MIS field, itself, which is like you're trying to do whatever course you're trying to do is part of that. And then this is now we are getting close to very recent things. One of the things that is happening, especially during last 4 or 5 years, a lot of development is happening in an area called visualization. Visualization is just a fancy term for graphs and charts, but it's not that simple. The modern graphs and charts are very sophisticated. When you do Excel, you only see line charts and bar charts, right? But in reality, it's not just anymore line charts and bar charts. You get a lot of very sophisticated charts that can tell you what these line charts and bar charts are unable to do. Number 1. Number 2, those charts have become dynamic. What is the meaning of the word dynamic? They change. You can even interact with those charts. What does that mean? For example, if I wanted to see my sales in Saudi, I'm selling everything in Saudi Arabia, alright? So I wanted to see how am I doing according to regions. So what graph can I use? Bar charts maybe? Riyadh, how many sold? Dammam, how many sold, right? In northern province, how many sold and so on, right? Fine. There's another more modern chart called maps, so what they say, they have actually a map of Saudi Arabia with like a 3D map. But fine, it's another nice fancy representation. But when I say dynamic and interactive, in what we'll see in business intelligence, there's a concept called
that you can see the data in the real time.
Not only in the real time, but we will talk about, for example, a concept called drill down. Drill down meaning is that, fine, I see this, but now I need to more about Eastern Province. So on the graph itself, I will click on the bar that I'm seeing on Eastern Province. So I click on that bar, and it will just zoom into Eastern Province on the same map, and then it will show me all the districts in Eastern Province and their bars. You understand that? Now see, as a manager, how easy for me to look at whatever information I need. And then on the district I click and it will take me to stores within districts. Can you see that? So this is what I'm saying, that even this visualization has become very sophisticated, but there are still graphs and charts, but of very advanced form. They are dynamic, they are interactive. You can interact, you can ask this graph to do what you wanted to see. Okay, so we will be talking about even some of those. There are something called alerts, which is happening in modern BI, meaning that somebody talked about automation, right? Meaning that you tell system that if something is going wrong, the system itself will be monitoring it, and if something has happened and I never tend to know about it until there is a big disaster, right? So the system will immediately notify me through email, through message, that look, you have to go and check, something is going on, right? So this is also part of modern business intelligence. Performance measurement. I think maybe in strategic management as well, you talk about KPIs. Anybody remember about KPIs? What is KPIs?
Standard for something.
Key performance indicators, KPIs. Now you wanted to real time, you wanted to monitor certain KPIs, right? So even business intelligence is helping you not only measure that but monitor that. So now with this discussion, we'd like to now go to more toward defining BI better. I already gave you an idea, but now we wanted to define business. So let's begin. Let's recap of whatever we have discussed. Okay, I gave you a big picture. You're all okay with that? The collection of the data and the use of data. Then I said that why it is important to go that way. So we talked about environment and everything, right? And now we will be going to understand BI a little bit more than what I defined you in the beginning. Okay, so BI, by the way, is an umbrella term. So you cannot just go to a market and buy a BI system, although you will find companies selling BI systems. So I need to explain, what I just said, two different things, right? There are softwares that claim to be BI softwares, but they are good software, but it's very difficult to find a BI that fits your cause. Because why? Because my requirements will always be different than someone else in terms of what data I need, what are my problems, what do I have to look at. So many times what is happening in companies is that I have to pick and choose my own tools. I don't buy just one BI. So I have my own database, I have my own tool for descriptive analytics, I have another tool for prescriptive analytics, I have another tool for predictive analytics. So you understand what I'm saying? So tools can be different according to my needs. So that's why BI is an umbrella term where it's a collection of tools that I use to do from starting to manage my data to actually doing my descriptive, predictive and prescriptive analytics. So it can be a combination of architectures, tools, databases, analytical tools, applications and many things, right? So together I can create my own system according to my needs, and then I can call that this is my BI, right? But small companies go and he mentioned about Power BI, so yeah, you can always have a software that small companies buy, but they are always very limited. They can only so much, they can do so many things, but not everything. Okay. Of course, we already discussed that eventually your BI should make the data you need immediately, readily, easily available, and it should help you conduct analysis and take the right decisions. Okay. So BI is something that transforms data into information and then eventually to decision and finally to action. So you have data, you take decision, and then you monitor your decision whether it is done properly. Okay. So now I will just give you a little bit of what does that mean, more concrete examples of what BI tool set has. So I told you that you can have multiple tools, right? So I need to give you a little bit more examples, and then we have different chapters where we'll go really, really deep, okay? So here are some examples of what BI tools can look like. By the way, your old MIS reporting, etc. are there, but let me focus here because the executives, we already talked about that. These two lines are very important to us. This is early BI, where you talk about something called OLAP. In DBMS2 or something, have you talked about OLAP?
Online.
Yeah, I'm talking about that, right? This is 90s, early 2000s, BI, that's part of that.
Online what?
Analytical processing. I'll show you something on the next screen. You will remember. I'm sure it must have been touched in DBMS2 at least.
Yes.
And this is modern BI, where AI or artificial intelligence is bringing into this BI concept. So you will see terms like data mining, text mining, web mining. You will see analytics and so on. Okay. So early part of the course is touching a little bit here, but a lot of part, especially definitely halfway forward, it will be all this part. Okay. So, for example, early part, do you remember these OLAP cubes? Cubes. I don't know if you remember them. The cubes. So, for
Okay.
example, if Excel file, you can only see two-dimensional, rows and columns. So it means that maybe in the rows you have products, in the column you have areas like Riyadh, Dammam, my sales, right? So I have on one dimension I have my region, on another dimension I have like products. How much I sold, my milk and my whatever. I'm selling, I'm doing a grocery store. Okay. Now OLAP allows you to go multi-dimensional, meaning that I even want to see it over time, days, weeks. My performance over weeks, right? So this cube is you can rotate this cube to see. I wanted to see products over time. I wanted to see products over regions, right? So I wanted to see region and performance over time. So this was like the old early work, OLAP. We'll talk about other things, but one of the things that has become very important these and fashionable is this. I say fashionable not in a negative sense, I mean that people are finding it really useful. Okay, it's something called cockpits and dashboards. Here in Saudi Arabia, they use the term dashboards mainly. So you don't hear a lot of term called cockpits, but they are pointing to the same idea. So if you sit in a plane cockpit, you see a lot of information coming in front. Same thing happens with your car, right? In front of you when you're driving, what do you see? You see speed, you see temperature, you see fuel, right? So you put what you want to see to make sure that your car is running well, right? You want to see speed, fuel, temperature, and any other information. Idea is the same. For the business, especially for executives, they wanted to see a lot of information on their screen arranged in a very nice way. So one of the jobs that our MIS graduates are also doing is creating dashboards for companies, especially early jobs. If you go and you start a job, chances are maybe not during co-op, but I know because a lot of students, they talk to us, one of the things that a lot of students did in their early part of their career, first 6 months, 1 year, their bosses have asked them to create actually a dashboard like this, where they wanted to see this performance measures, this data and that data. It is descriptive analytics. Why? Because I'm just seeing past data. Past data mean it's descriptive analytics, but it is where you merge visualization and descriptive analytics. Why? Because some graphs are just visualization, but then there are some numbers you're calculating, some summarization, some averages, some variances and all those things. So, and together if you put them arranged in a nice way, we call it a dashboard. So we will talk about, maybe, I'm not sure, I have to see, maybe we'll talk about dashboards as well a little bit, okay? So So now to wrap things up, so can you define what BI is? So BI first of all has to begin with something called a data warehouse. So do you know the difference between database and data warehouse?
Yes.
Data warehouse is the place that is like container, something like this. A
Can you
container.
tell more? Yes.
It helps the manager to make decisions.
Okay, I need to know more. This is fine, this is the use of warehouse, right? But I need to tell exactly how you can differentiate. The keyword.
Subject oriented.
Okay,
Store that for long period.
this is fine, but I'm still missing one very important keyword. Okay, let me explain. If you're storing for a long time, it's still in the database, right? So why do I have to take from another one here? I need to, what did you say?
To make decisions.
I can do it through my actual database as well, right? What did you say?
It's something like a container.
My database is a container, right? You all agree? Who else said something? Project oriented.
Subject oriented.
Maybe a little. So let me explain why we have data warehouses and what is the purpose of warehouses. Now, imagine I'm running a grocery store, Panda telling me something, right? Whenever a customer buys something, they scan item. Every item you scan, it goes into the database.
Mhm.
This is called transaction. Whenever they scan the counter person scans, it's called a transaction which goes into the database. Okay. So imagine Panda. How many transactions are going on at one time?
A lot.
Across whole Panda, a lot of them, right? So, and you have extremely minor data. Even you buy a milk, that data is there in the system. Now, as a manager, do I really bother when you bought a milk at what time? And that is not the most crucial information. What is crucial to me is how many milk I sold today or this week. Why? Because then I need not like 10, 25 I bought a milk. No, that's not what is important to me. That I need to know how many milk I'm selling each day or each week or each month. You understand that? So the keyword here is summarization, summary. What I do is I sum whatever I sold for all my items during the day. I need to see how many items I sold today or tomorrow. You understand that? Summarization or summation,
Try to summarize.
right? It might be happening on the day level, it might be even happening at the week level. Because I'm planning at the week level, I don't need daily information, I need weekly information. So how many items have I sold this week, right? Plus, transaction, there's a lot of pressure on transactional database. Plus, every time I access to analyze, it will first do summarization and then I'll do my analytics. So what is the efficient way to do it? Let's summarize and then contain it in a separate system so that when I actually need to look at the data, I save time for summarization and this data is already available. Now do you understand the difference between warehouse?
Mhm.
So it's a summarized data put in warehouse so that whenever I need this summarized data, I don't put pressure on transaction system and I save time on summarization as well, right? Now this weekly, daily, monthly, yearly data is saved in my warehouse. So I can access this warehouse information as a planner. So I don't disturb my transaction database, okay? So you start with a warehouse in business intelligence. But warehouse, you must understand that there's a database behind warehouse. Because warehouse is never alone, it always is taking from a database behind. And then you have analytics. This storing and managing the data, where I started the whole discussion, right? What about analytics? It is the storing the data or use of data. The use of the data, right? And then you can have some more things like performance measures and so on. Monitoring what has happened. And what is this? Well, we already discussed. Representing, the knowledge. So in another form, you have data sources where some people are just, their job is to organize. Do you see this word here?
Summarizing.
organize, summarize in the way I need as a planner. Okay? You store it in a warehouse, and then these people, business users, access them. Business analytics people, they access them, they manipulate, they do analysis, they do descriptive, predictive, prescriptive, and then the managers use them. Managers then monitor them. And by the way, for each one, you may have those portals and dashboards as the interface to look at everything. And now this one, it book says future component intelligence system. I think I need to cut this word here, because with last 3-4 years, especially with AI coming up, it's no more future. It is here. You're all using chat GPTs and all those things, right? So it is intelligent system, meaning that we are now integrating AI concepts as well. Okay, so we have almost time, so I need to stop quickly. Okay, so data warehouse, we already talked about that. The only thing I need to mention is 2 things: the old warehouse and the modern warehouse. Old warehouse, I told you, normally they used to summarize every week or every month. So because it put pressure on your database, so you don't want to keep talking to the database. So what the company used to do, at the end of every weekend, they used to like bring data from database, summarize it and put it in BI. So that's why I used to call it historical data, because it's always a little old. Not talking about it. But now with more faster clouds, faster computing systems, they are trying to move as close to real-time systems as possible. Meaning that even warehouses they are trying to update it in real time. Real time meaning that as it is happening, they are trying to get it as close to real time as possible. Okay. Business analytics, I think we have talked enough about it. I think we already talked about dashboards, interface. So it's just explaining what dashboards are: graphical, pictorial views of your performance measures and data. And this is business performance, is just KPIs that I talked about. So okay, so what next? This was the background for the course. The rest of the chapter I will not take a lot of time, but these are just I think mostly cases. Cases mean examples. Okay, so but we have hopefully created a good background for you in business intelligence. You should be able to now explain what business intelligence is all about. Okay, I'll see how far we need to look at those cases, but other than that, it's all about going into maybe a little bit about data warehousing, and then going into descriptive analytics, or going into a little bit of predictive analytics, and so on, prescriptive analytics for the rest of the course. Okay, now do you have any query? Otherwise we can stop.
Thank you.
That's it? No questions? All clear? Okay, alhamdulillah. So we'll stop now. And